Good evening and welcome to Ignite News on 6 at 6. It's Tuesday, April 8, 2025. I'm Rihanna Nikram. Thanks for joining us. Here are the highlights. President Irfan Ali is urging calm as he promises residents of Linden a full investigation into the shooting death of Ronaldo Peters. The third annual Local Content Summit opens today. Local business cashing in on the oil and gas sector. And $100 million has been injected into the foreign exchange market by the Bank of Guyana. President Irfan Ali has urged residents of Linden to remain calm as a full investigation is launched into the tragic shooting incident involving Ronaldo Peters and a sergeant from the Wismar police station.
All the legal steps in dealing with this matter will and must be followed. The police was under arrest. The Office of Professional Responsibility is undertaking their investigation, and I've asked them whatever external support, if any, is needed, that those external support is sought to ensure that all parties, all stakeholders are comfortable with the outcome of the investigation and the process of investigation. I want to say to the residents that we're going to ensure with support, independent support, that this matter is dealt with professionally, and this should not be exploited politically. This is not a political issue. This is a serious issue. I think the police also issued a statement as to what were the circumstances surrounding the event and what led to the police seeking the individual. All of that will be also investigated. So there's a process, the process must be followed, and that process is what is ongoing.
Minister of Home Affairs, Robson Ben, is also urging calm and peace as he expressed concern over the ongoing unrest in Wismar, Linden. In a statement, Ben expressed his regret and sorrow towards the family of the deceased. He also joined the call for peace. The ministry assured all residents that the matter is being treated with the utmost seriousness, and the officer involved is currently under close arrest at the Tactical Services Unit. The Office of National Responsibility has launched a full and independent investigation, and all necessary protocols are being strictly followed. According to police reports, Peters was wanted for questioning in relation to an alleged sexual offense involving a minor. Around 17:30 hours on Monday, a sergeant attached to the Wismar police station received information that Peters had been seen at a bar. The sergeant, accompanied by other uniformed ranks, went to the location, and Peters attempted to flee by scaling a nearby fence. During an attempt to apprehend him, the police sergeant reportedly pulled Peters from the fence, and in the process, his service pistol allegedly discharged, hitting Peters. Peters was immediately escorted to the Mackenzie Public Hospital. However, he succumbed to his injuries while receiving treatment. However, video evidence released has contradicted this account. Earlier today, during unrest in Linden regarding the situation, gazetted police officers were greeted with missiles and injured. According to a police statement, the officers resorted to discharging rounds at the crowd in an effort to mitigate the situation, where they were burning tires and destroying government infrastructure. During this process, a protester was shot dead. The officers involved have been placed under arrest, and the Office of Professional Responsibility has commenced investigations. Member of the Regional Security System will lead an independent investigation. President Irfan Ali said he will meet with the families of those affected by two recent police-related incidents in Linden, as part of a broader effort to ensure their voices are heard and their concerns addressed. $100 million has been injected into the foreign exchange market to address delays in availability of foreign currency. According to a release from the Ministry of Finance, the funds will be distributed across all commercial banks to provide swift relief and meet pending requests for foreign currency. This decision was announced after a Monday meeting with Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance and public service, Dr. Ashni Singh, and Central Bank Governor Dr. Gobind Ganga. They met representatives of commercial banks to discuss foreign exchange developments in the banking system. According to the Finance Ministry, the financial system maintains adequate levels of foreign currency to satisfy ongoing demand. However, some commercial banks have experienced occasional delays in fulfilling foreign currency orders. The $100 million injection intends to smooth these temporary mismatches. This is the second injection of foreign currency this year. Last month, Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo announced that $35 million was injected also to smooth out delays in access. The third annual Local Content Summit opened today at the Guyana Marriott Hotel. The summit provides business owners with access to expert-led panels focusing on critical topics including supply chain management, procurement strategies, capacity development, and market trends.
Guyana is not known for always having information at your fingertips, especially put into the context that everyone needs. We have lots of information, but to put it into usable context sometimes seems to be very difficult. So we thought it best to give you the broad picture so that you are able to put it into relatable context. We have 3 panels today, and I believe that these 3 panels adequately address what are the topical issues in this market today. When I was curating the summit, it dawned on me that local content has what I have coined as the stakeholder quadrant. On the one hand, you have the policymakers and the regulators, so they are here, the government. On the other hand, you have the industry that it was created to regulate, the oil and gas sector, they are here. You have the vendors, the suppliers, and the contractors who need to operate within the sector, and so they need to understand how to play by the rules, they are here. And then you have the citizens, the people who are interested, those who are thinking of getting into the game, and they are here. And in the middle of it all, you have the organizations who need to have the interests of business at heart. And so they are definitely going to have the good, the bad, and the ugly, and they are here. So I dare say that today you're going to have a little bit of everything that you need to have a deeper, clearer, and more actionable understanding of the local content, how it relates to you, your business, and even the direction that you want to head.
Giving the keynote speech, President Dr. Irfan Ali highlighted that the local content legislation has created significant benefits for local businesses. He pointed out that, through this legislation, substantial contracts have been awarded to many local enterprises, which has also encouraged more businesses to come on board.
The summit provides a critical space to highlight the tangible gains that have been achieved since the passage of the Local Content Act. It allows us to evaluate the progress made in ensuring local participation in the oil and gas sector. Importantly, it also allows us to confront the continuing attempts, both subtle and overt, to circumvent the rules that were established with a singular objective of empowering Guyanese citizens and businesses. Equally vital, this gathering opens the door for greater collaboration between local companies and foreign firms, and for creating more meaningful and sustainable partnerships. These partnerships are not just about transactional engagement. They must be about transformation of local capability, of opportunity, and of the architecture of national wealth. The data attests to the momentum we have built. As of the end of 2024, as I said, a total of 1,100 local companies were participating in the local oil and gas sector. The value of this participation is not token, it is substantive. Since the passage of the Local Content Act, local companies have benefited from over US $1.5 billion in contracts and procurement. It is your accomplishment to celebrate, so you decide how you want to celebrate it. The participation has also been inclusive. We committed to small and medium-scale enterprises and women-owned businesses across various subsectors. During the second half of 2024, 54 women-owned businesses were registered. These gains were not accidental. They were the direct result of a legislative framework that insisted rightly that Guyanese must not stand on the sidelines of their own development.
The Local Content Summit supports Guyana's local content legislation by connecting stakeholders to explore opportunities in the oil and gas sector through local business growth, job creation, and partnerships. Artificial intelligence presents both powerful opportunities and significant risk. That's why the global community must harness its potential while actively working to reduce the danger it poses. That message came from Nishanta Ben, political coordinator of Guyana's permanent mission to the United Nations. She delivered a statement during a Security Council Area Formula meeting on Friday. The meeting focused on harnessing safe, inclusive, and trustworthy AI to maintain international peace and security. Ben said that Guyana supports initiatives like these, believing they help create a path toward the responsible use of artificial intelligence.
First, in supporting the maintenance of international peace and security, it is critical to ensure that AI technology is developed and utilized in a safe and ethical manner. Open AI systems allow for enhanced accessibility, collaboration among stakeholders, and support the advancement of the Sustainable Development Goals, including in the areas of healthcare, education, and the environment. These systems can provide opportunities for bridging digital gaps between developed and developing countries and for enhancing knowledge and experiences. However, to ensure responsible use of AI through these systems, transparency, accountability, and human oversight and control must be prioritized.
Ben continued by noting that open AI systems should also be safe, secure, and reliable. She explained that once these elements are incorporated, the risk of misuse can be reduced.
Finally, there is a need for practical responses to challenges posed by the misuse of AI. One such practical measure is for countries to strengthen their cybersecurity infrastructure and to develop incident response plans to respond to cyber threats and attacks. At the international level, international cooperation through intelligence sharing and capacity building remains critical. In terms of preserving information integrity, countering hate speech and disinformation campaigns in the context of UN peace operations require educational awareness and training for peacekeepers. Raising public awareness on the perils of hate speech and how to detect disinformation can help to create a safer operating environment for peacekeepers. Additionally, peacekeepers, as part of their mandate, should be trained to detect and respond effectively to cyber threats, hate speech, and disinformation, recognizing that they are at times victims of these.
At the recent Berkeley Innovation Forum hosted at the NASA Ames Research Center in California, President Dr. Irfan Ali also proposed the use of AI as a tool to accelerate equitable economic growth, reduce disparities, and address key global challenges. President Dr. Irfan Ali has pointed out that Guyana is not barring international investment in the oil and gas sector, but rather creating an environment for partnership between local and international companies. However, it is also ensuring that local businesses are not sidelined.
We will not stand idly by. We will continue to strengthen enforcement and to close any gaps that are being abused. It is also gross misrepresentation to suggest that local content legislation is protectionist. It is not. Local content is an instrument of national development. It is not about shielding inefficiency or denying competition. Rather, it is about ensuring that the playing field is not just level, but also accessible. It is about giving local firms a fair chance, not a free ride, to participate in a new industry and to build the capacity and capability necessary to compete and thrive. There is fundamental distinction between local content provision and imposition of tariffs. Tariffs are often deployed to restrict import and to protect domestic producers from foreign competition. Local content laws, on the other hand, are about inclusion, participation, and long-term national development. The two must work together. The two must work together. For us to have fairness in the international system, for us to have to ensure that we mitigate against dumping. And these are all international issues and challenges that the trade environment is faced with. How do we ensure that the mechanism is not only about pricing, but about quality? How do we mitigate against dumping, substandard abuse of the existing trade system. These are all matters that the global community is faced with. Continuous discussion around these issues. And we have to be innovative, we have to be open, we have to be frank, we have to be deliberate, and also we have to understand that the world in which we operate is not a silo. It requires strong, relentless partnership. And that is what Guyana is about. Strong, relentless partnership. The day we see ourselves as an island unto ourselves is the day we're going to make an important mistake about our own future. In building out this country, we are not building to be superior to anyone. We are building to be the best we can be for our people and our country. That is why our education system, our healthcare system, is to provide the best possible service to our citizens, but also to our regional friends. So we are not shielding Guyana's petroleum sector from foreign investment. Not at all. We're not shielding the sector from foreign investment. Far from it. We are actively courting it. Guyana has never been more open to the world, to capital, and to partnership. But our openness is not equivalent to marginalization of local businesses. We will not allow our private sector, our people, to be mere spectators in their own economy. We will not permit the benefits of oil and gas to bypass our workers, our businesses, and our communities.
President Ali further highlighted that the goal of the local content legislation is not only to allow local businesses to benefit from the oil and gas sector, but also to create national wealth for all citizens.
And I want the businesses here to also listen to this message that we are speaking to ourselves about. You must allow your employees to be part of this growth story. You must allow the employees to be a part of the success stories of your businesses and your enterprise. Just as you want to be a success story of the country. We are in this together. We are creating wealth together. We are building prosperity together.
The Local Content Act of 2021 prioritizes Guyanese nationals and companies in the petroleum sector's procurement, aiming to benefit the local economy and develop local capacity. The Local Content Secretariat oversees the implementation of the Act. Workplace safety is high on the agenda across the Caribbean, and Guyana's Prime Minister, Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, is calling for stronger monitoring and unified action to reduce workplace accidents. He made the call during the opening of the 13th Caribbean Ministers of Labor meeting on Monday at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. Prime Minister Phillips urged regional leaders to adopt strategic and coordinated approaches to tackle the changing challenges facing the Caribbean workforce. The high-level meeting brought together CARICOM labor ministers, International Labour Organization representatives, and key stakeholders under the theme, Decent Work for Resilience, Securing the Future of the Caribbean Labor.
The challenges we face as a region are mounting, from climate instability to shifting global labor trends, from digital disruptions to growing informal economies. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore, our response toward the well-being of our labor force in the region must be coordinated, deliberate, and bold. This meeting, co-facilitated by the Government of Guyana and supported by the International Labour Organization, therefore, reflects our shared commitment to building stronger, more equitable labor systems across the Caribbean. Guyana's labor market reflects both the opportunities and challenges of a rapidly growing economy. As of 2021, the labor force participation rate stood at approximately 49.6%, with an overall unemployment rate of 14.5% and a youth unemployment rate nearing 32%. Key employment sectors include agriculture, mining, construction, and the rapidly expanding oil and gas industry, which continues to generate thousands of new jobs.
Labor resilience, according to the Prime Minister, goes beyond creating jobs. He says it demands strong social, economic, and legal systems to support workers at every stage of their employment journey. He also noted ongoing efforts to formalize work in Guyana, including partnerships with the Guyana Revenue Authority. These efforts aim to simplify registration, encourage compliance, and expand access to Social Security benefits like the National Insurance Scheme. Prime Minister Phillips stressed the need for coordinated regional strategies to formalize gig work, boost worker protections, and build an inclusive future of work. Regionally, at least 15 people are dead after a roof collapsed at a nightclub in the Dominican Republic during a concert by popular merengue singer. According to the BBC, many more are injured and rescue workers are still attempting to free people from the rubble. It is not yet clear what caused the incident, which happened in the early hours of Tuesday at the Jet Set discotheque in the capital, Santo Domingo. The President of the Dominican Republic, Luis Abinader, has expressed his condolences to the families affected. The director of the Emergency Operations Center, Juan Manuel Mendez, said rescue workers were still looking for people under the debris. Mendez said he was hopeful that many of those buried under the collapsed roof were still alive. Internationally, U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin both want to remove Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. According to Al Jazeera, President Trump claimed on February 19th that Ukraine was under martial law and being led by a president with a 4% approval rating. 5 days later, Putin blocked Trump's claim, adding that Zelensky's approval was twice as low as his political rival, Valery Zelensky. Both leaders are wrong about the rating, as their diplomatic spats have increased his popularity from 52% in December to 57% in February, according to polls by the Kyiv International Institute of Sociology. However, 37% of Ukrainians do not trust Zelensky, the poll said. Critics have accused Zelensky of muzzling free speech, failing to contain corruption in his own Servant of the People political party, and, more importantly, in the military. And in sports, Lancashire have signed Australian spinner Alana King on a multi-format contract. The 29-year-old will feature for Lancashire Thunder in the Women's T20 Blast, as well as Lancashire's matches in the One Day Cup, the BBC reported. A 50-over World Cup winner in 2022, King has also won the Ashes on 3 occasions, as well as gold at the 2022 Commonwealth Games. King has also previously played in the 100 for Trent Rockets, becoming the first woman to take a hat trick. In rugby, former England international players say there's a growing gulf in quality between Premiership clubs and Europe's elite in the Champions Cup, a gap that may only be closed by raising salary caps or restructuring the domestic season. As reported by the BBC, 4 more English teams, Saracens, Harlequins, Leicester, and Sale, crashed out of the competition after heavy defeats in the last 16. That leaves Northampton Saints as the only Premiership side in this weekend's quarter-finals. They join 4 French teams, 2 Irish provinces, and Scotland's Glasgow Warriors. Former England and Harlequins back Hugo Monnier pointed to the salary cap disparity as a key factor. While the Premiership raised its cap from £5 million to £6.4 million this season, it still trails France's top 14 cap of £9 million. And that's all for this edition of Ignite News on 6 at 6. For more stories, visit ignitenews.com or follow us on social media. Thanks for watching. I'm Rihanna Nikram. See you tomorrow for more Ignite News.